The face of Burma's democracy movement, Aung San Suu Kyi, has been released from house arrest. She spent 7 years confined to her home. She called on the Burmese people to now work together. Her release brought thousands of jubilant supporters to her compound in Rangoon. The Irish government is in talks about a European bailout for the country's ailing economy. And a superb victory for England in a thrilling match against Australia. Hello and good evening. After more than 7 years under house arrest, the Burmese pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been released by the country's military rulers. On hearing the news, crowds of her followers rushed to her compound in Rangoon. She told them, "We must work together in unison." The Nobel Peace Prize laureate had been detained for 15 of the past 21 years, but her detention order ended today. Our World Affairs editor John Simpson reports from Rangoon.
By late afternoon, Aung San Suu Kyi's supporters were starting to worry whether she would be free today after all. The government forces who blocked off the road to her house looked immovable.
It's 4:15 and the sun's just starting to go down, but the standoff is as firm as ever and nobody really knows what's going to happen. Neither the demonstrators who are sitting down here, nor indeed the soldiers and riot police behind me.
But then suddenly the road was clear and the race was on. The crowd fetched up at the gate to her house. And then a quite unforgettable moment. Aung San Suu Kyi, a free woman, walking to meet her people. By now, she'd twined some flowers in her hair, which someone had given her. She'd clearly worked out very carefully what she'd say, a message which her supporters, her critics and her enemies could all interpret as they chose. There's a time to be quiet and a time to talk, she said. We must work together to achieve our goal. Knowing her support for the BBC Burmese service for keeping her informed while she was a prisoner, I called out to her.
Can you say something for the BBC?
I'm very, very happy, she says, but the crowd noise swamps her voice.
Exhilarating moment for all of these people here. Something they've been longing for year upon year. What's going to happen now? Nobody here knows, and I suspect Aung San Suu Kyi herself has only the faintest idea.
In the heaving crowd and the intense heat is someone who's played a big part in calling for her freedom, the British ambassador.
Just look at what's happened tonight and just enjoy the enthusiasm of the people here.
I have to say, you look pretty happy yourself.
Well, it's just been an amazing night, an amazing afternoon and an amazing night. And yeah, it's hard not to get caught up with it.
There's huge pleasure here tonight, but Aung San Suu Kyi's latest battle with the generals here is only just beginning. John Simpson, BBC News, Rangoon.
World leaders have welcomed the release. President Obama said she was a hero of his, while David Cameron called Aung San Suu Kyi an inspiration for all who believe in freedom of speech, democracy and human rights. They are now insisting that the Burmese regime must release all political prisoners and move to genuine democracy. Our diplomatic correspondent James Robbins reports.
Is this Burma's Mandela moment? Aung San Suu Kyi is free, but her country certainly is not. Nelson Mandela was able to negotiate democracy for South Africa, but will she be allowed to follow a similar course? Are Burma's generals even contemplating the end of their rule? Aung San Suu Kyi has devoted herself to the cause of democracy since 1988. Burma was in political turmoil. She had just returned from Britain to her homeland and told this vast crowd she could not remain indifferent to what was going on. But within a month, the army seized power after brutally suppressing the demonstrations. They did call elections, but when Aung San Suu Kyi's party won overwhelmingly, the military refused to step aside.